You know?
Uh,
How long do you usually sleep for nightly?
say like 9 hours.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. And then I'm like a old coal-fired train in the morning. It takes me like 2 hours before I even start moving. I have like yeah.
Starting webinar.
Great.
Whoa, whoa.
Sweet. All right. Have we opened?
Welcome.
Have we opened the doors?
The doors are
Open
open.
the chats. Make sure
Killer.
your chat settings set to everyone.
Oh yeah. And say
Oh.
hello.
First
T
one.
starts with a 1.
Yes, Keith.
Legend. What a legend.
Love it. Great inside joke. What's up, guys? Yeah, make sure
So fast.
first and foremost, make sure your chat settings are changed from host and panelists over to everyone. Okay, from hosts and panelists to everyone. I'm gonna go ahead. Set a reminder. Reminder, make sure your chat settings are set to everyone. Let us know, guys. Let us know that you're here, you're ready to go. Shoot us some sexy emojis. Let us know where you're from.
Alabama, Barcelona.
I saw someone was from Fort Lauderdale. I just flew back from there 2 days ago.
Someone says poopy mix. Here we go.
You could tell who's been here before.
Someone knows the
Yeah,
drill.
you can. Awesome. Love hanging out with you guys.
Someone knows that I'm about to get pooped on. First impressions, right?
Yeah, totally.
Did we have a more sophisticated name for the mix?
No.
No.
We're all creatives here. Can handle it.
It's gonna take a couple minutes for everybody to filter in, so get comfortable.
Florida, yes, beautiful Florida. What part of Florida? There's West Palm Beach, Latvia, Mike D. India, Brighton, UK, Arkansas, France, Wales. Philippines, Ireland, Sonoma, Orlando. I got married there. California, Lauderdale, Idaho, Orlando for me too. Awesome.
Manchester. Is that Manchester, or is that is that an actual town, or is that a fancy way of saying Manchester?
Somewhere. That's Massachusetts, right?
Is it? I thought it was like the Brooklyn way of saying Manchester.
Got some bacon. You guys got the bacon? You guys bringing the bacon today?
Soon to be World Cup winner.
That's an inside joke from last time. That's family talk.
Any World Cup fans here? Anybody watching the World Cup?
I have been.
FIFA. There's only one sport that I really care about, and I'm in the wrong country for it.
You watch soccer?
I love, yeah, that's like the only sport I care.
You've been watching, Dane?
That's the only, I've been watching like highlights, and I watched the US versus Netherlands game, which was very depressing.
Yeah, it was.
But I'm in Rochester, New York. So go Bills.
Go Bills.
Overrated.
Doing pretty good.
Overrated.
You just lost a player for the season.
I don't know anything about him.
Yeah.
What if you're not actually watching the Bills, then what else is there to do up there? Isn't that why everybody like jumps through tables? All the Bills fans jump through tables because there's nothing else to do.
All NFL fans are psychopaths.
Bills are especially psycho though.
I think they're especially psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the lake effect, man. I don't know what to tell you. What else is there to do up here? We snowmobile. It's cool.
Sounds chill.
Yeah.
Do you really? You snowmobile?
Yep. Every year
Nice.
we blow stuff up. I'm in upstate New York. So I'm not down south with all you city folk, Long Islanders. I blow stuff up. I shoot stuff, I go shooting. I have 4-wheelers and snowmobiles.
Nice.
The redneck side of Jake.
Or just Jake.
And I produce music in my basement.
Nice. Navajo Nation, New Mexico.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
the first.
We're in, guys, sit tight. We're gonna wait a few minutes for everybody to come on in. We did start a little bit early here, but don't worry, we're gonna get to the good stuff. We're just gonna chill, let people kind of like trickle in for the next few minutes here.
Some people say this is the best part of Fix Mix.
Some people
Just
do
the
say
chit
that.
chat. Just the
Just the
hang.
chit chat.
Yeah.
It's the hang.
Screw the learning.
Just
Let's
having a
just hang
hang.
out.
We're all very lonely people, and we host these
Dungeon Day.
webinars
We're
just
all-
for the hang.
We're lonely.
Mhm.
I haven't seen daylight in a long time.
just a bunch of cave people, cavemen.
So put a 1 in chat if this is your first time. Put a 2 in chat if you are joining us again from a previous one. Ooh, a lot of new people.
Well, I'm
A lot
gonna
of
say
returning
70 to
people.
30.
70 new or 70 old?
70 new. Looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, it does look like a lot of new folks. This is great.
Like a beautiful mind. Did
We
you see how
got-
quickly I did this statistics on that?
You have a little shed out in your backyard with like pictures all over it.
There were like 3 answers, and I was like 70 30 with absolute certainty.
Rain Man.
Mm-hmm. It's the kind of intellect you guys are going to deal with this week. So really kind of prepare yourselves. It's going to be complex. It's going to be tough to follow.
Deep. It's gonna be heady stuff.
Yep.
All right, let's mute Michael.
This is just my podcast.
Another reminder, guys, make sure your chat settings are set to everyone.
Mhm.
Okay, change it from hosts and panelists to everyone. Unless you
Right.
Turn
just
host and panelists, we can see it, but no one else can. So there's actually a lot more conversation going on right now than
Mhm.
you might
Unless you
think.
want to just whisper directly to somebody
Mm,
on the panel.
Mhm.
Tell Caleb his beard looks nice.
mhm.
His
Look at
hair
my
looks
hair today. My
conditioned.
goodness.
I was just going to say that.
Those
It's
freaking
like a
locks
lion's
today.
mane.
I did put a. Never mind.
What?
I put
What'd you
a.
do?
I put a leave-in conditioner in this morning.
You sure did.
Oh man, it sure
I knew it.
looks lush.
I knew it.
Lush.
There's
Mhm.
something different about you.
There's a glow.
Mhm.
I put some beard oil in. I was like, I get to hang out with the FTM folks today.
Time to
It looks incredible.
You know what?
freshen
I'm
up.
not ashamed. I'm comfortable.
I haven't showered in 4 days. And I just look this good
I came
naturally.
to play. I came to play.
Mhm. If that's TMI, then you're in for a rough 3 days.
Who's the guy named mastering.com?
That's Michael.
That's Michael. He's my mustache buddy.
Yep.
Why do you have a mustache, Michael?
I'm going to a Spotify Wrapped party on Saturday. I have to dress as my top artist of 2022, and that was Goth Babe. For those of you who don't know the Babe, he
Right.
has a mustache.
Nice.
So if you haven't listened to Goth Babe, go check him out.
Sick.
I was just happy my top artist was myself. That's always horrible when you post your Spotify Wrapped and it's your own music. There we go. Love Goth Babe.
One
Michael wants
person.
to look
One
like-
person, Michael.
Michael wants to look like Jake. That's when Michael Scott shows up with the beard because Ryan has it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the real.
Okay. Still have people filtering in. Think we could probably kick off pretty soon.
Should we rock and roll?
Yeah, maybe like one or two more minutes.
Okay.
Let the people filter in.
Ooh. Sweet. Jose says yes, rock and roll. Nope. A couple minutes left. Yeah, how long is this session going to run this morning? Right around hour and a half to 2 hours today.
Forever.
Forever.
Until Caleb has a heart attack.
At least they'll die beautiful, you know.
His hair looks fantastic.
I almost said the parametrics will come. That's when you know you've done too much music.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Won't call it
Parametrics are coming for you.
Parametrics will come.
Parametrics are coming. You got
They'll smell my hair and just be like, he died.
he
He
did.
died beautiful.
He's dead. He's dead.
Amazing.
Oh,
Guy with the great
Alright.
hair is the guy that yells at me in YouTube commercials.
Oh, come on.
I know. I'm sorry.
Come on.
I do yell.
Apparently it worked because they're here.
Yeah, you're here.
Yeah.
They're here. So come on.
It's on you.
Mhm,
Here for the hang, baby.
mhm.
That's funny. What do you think?
They rough me up before the take. They come over and they slap me and push me around.
Yeah, we elevate his energy.
All right.
One in chat if you like the energy of the ad, or two in chat if you wish I was just a little more chill.
Wait, repeat that.
One in chat if you like the ad, or two if you want me to be just a little more chill. Yeah, no, everyone likes the ad.
90-10.
Thanks.
90-10.
Because I'm a pretty chill dude. They got to rough me up. All right.
All right.
We should start. Enough of this nonsense.
Do it. I'm ready.
Give a 4, 5, 7 if you're ready to start. Oh, someone jumped the gun.
Wow.
Someone did a 4. There we go.
All right. That's it. 4, 5, 7. Here we go.
That's remarkable.
Welcome, everyone, to another Fix the Mix Challenge, December Fix the Mix Challenge. We do these every so often. We really love doing them. If you've been with us before, you know that this is a lot of fun and we get to hang out and hopefully help everyone just make their mixes a little bit better. That's the whole point of this. And for those of you who are new, huge welcome. Just kind of want to give you some quick introductions. I'm Caleb Lovelace. I'm the Director of Education for Mastering.com, and been in the industry for about 25 years, and I've kind of worn a lot of different hats. Maybe that's why I like teaching now, because I've just kind of done a lot of different stuff over the years, from touring to label work to a lot of licensing work to artist development and kind of everything in between. So happy to be here with you today. We also have Michael Gilbride. He's the GM, General Manager of Mastering.com. He's the reason you're all here. He's the reason my ads are so hyped up.
It's the Puppet Master.
The Puppet Master. He's pulling the strings. And then we have Mr. Jake Codeweiss down with the morally flexible shirt on. You don't know Jake. He's a hell of a dude. And he's a consummate pro, consummate producer, mixer, mastering engineer. Got signed at a very young age to record deals and has done a lot of licensing work as well. How many licenses what's the tally up to now, Jake?
Last time I checked, over 1,500.
1,500 licenses. That's not songs available. That's closed license deals. That's pretty great.
Closed deals. Yeah.
That's great. And then we have Dane Holmes, Mr. Dane Holmes in the basement. He's a vocal. What was the name of your
No,
degree?
just vocal performance.
Vocal performance major. He sings opera, but that's not why we have him. He's also a consummate pro, and he has worked with such brands as Coke and Cadillac, Intel. He's mixed for top 10 artists. He's produced for top 40 artists, and he is just an amazing dude. Kind heart, salt of the earth kind of guy. So we're happy to have him. This is the team we have here today. Just wanted to give you a little introduction in case you want to know who we are. And now you know. So if you need to chat to us, you know a little bit about us. So what are the next 3 days going to be like? Here's a quick little overview. We're going to start off with a 1 to 2 hour Zoom training every day. And I'll say 1 to 2 hours is like pretty conservative. Probably tomorrow it might be 3 hours. The next day it might be 4 hours. That's because we don't really hold back a whole ton. We like to give you as much as we can. We're going to get into some mixing philosophy, and we're going to mix that in with demonstration as well. So we want to tell you about what we want you to learn and then show you. And then we'll send you away with some action items to take what you've been learning, take what we've been demonstrating, use it on your own mix. If you don't have a mix, we'll provide something for you to mix as well. So if you have something to work on, that's great. If not, we'll provide something. And that's what it's going to be like.
Hey, Caleb, your mic is just a tad phasey. I don't know if you have a setting. I know this was a problem last time, but just heads up.
We don't want that. Let's fix it. Hold on.
Fix the mic before fix the mix.
Usually Caleb's voice is rich and you can hear the vocal folds as they vibrate.
How about now?
Ooh.
Is that better?
Did you just have direct monitoring, whatever?
Look at the people. They love it.
I'm so sorry. I hate when it gets phasey like that.
Your vocal folds are.
I do apologize.
Seen.
I do apologize.
Like two waves beating against each other, those vocal cords.
Okay.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
The grace of a stingray.
Enough of that.
Yeah. No,
All right. We don't want phasey vocals. All right. So what's fun about this challenge? We really enjoy doing these. I mean, we're working with our students a lot. We do a lot of mentoring. We're also are all running studios and we're busy. I think this is like a time we get away and just work with people we don't know and just offer some sort of value for people. And I think we kind of like really enjoy doing these. And it's also fun because I think there's a lot of people out in the industry that like really keep their secrets to themselves, or they don't want to give you the good stuff or whatever. But we just tend to like throw as much as we can at you. You can ask any questions you want. We're more than happy to help you in any way we can. There's nothing we're holding back. Obviously, we can't do everything in 3 days, but you know, we're going to give you as much value as we can. The demonstrations are fun for us, and they're a place where you can kind of get into the more technical. You're going to want to, you know, if you're newer, I think you're going to want to maybe pull out a pad and paper. Well, everyone should really, but I think if you're newer, there's going to be some stuff you come across as we're going, and we're going to need to be moving at a certain speed. You're just going to want to jot some notes down, and you're going to either want to ask those maybe in the Fix the Mix community in school, or maybe Google search some of the more basic stuff if you're newer. Because we won't have time to answer a lot, you know, some of that stuff, but you know, Google's your friend and the community's your friend in school. By the way, if you're not in the school community, y'all should make sure you get in there, because that's how you're going to mostly be able to access the replays for these and interact with other people. And then you get to engage and ask questions and be a part of that like-minded community. So make sure that you're in school, make sure that you can ask questions when you need to, make sure that you can interact and have access to the replays. All of that's done through the school community. We sent invites out to all of you. Maybe Michael can drop a link in the chat if anyone maybe got the email to their junk mail or something like that. You definitely want to join there. It's free. There's no gimmick with it. You just want to get in there so you can interact with the community and have access to the replays.
Yeah, I'll post there we go. There's the link for it there if you want to join.
Cool. So what's tricky about the challenge? Well, obviously it's only 3 days. So can we teach you everything about mixing and mastering in 3 days? Of course not. but we really need to focus on kind of some big picture concepts. So what we do is choose some stuff that we see a lot of people struggle with. We're going to focus primarily on those. Is there other stuff? Yes, but we're going to hopefully zoom out enough and focus on big picture stuff enough that it's really helpful even in just the 3 days. We also acknowledge that everyone is at a different level. So there's those of you who are pretty new to mixing and mastering, and then there's some of you who I know personally who have been doing this for 20 or 30 years. You're going to get different things out of this. You're going to ask different questions, but that's totally okay. And I think if you are a little bit more advanced, take it as an opportunity to be a teacher. You know, you learn a lot through helping other people and teaching other people. And so it doesn't matter where you are, just try to be helpful, be a great community. And that's what we like to see. The biggest problem with trying to teach something in this kind of medium through virtual webinars is that all of you are in different rooms with different sets of speakers. And I'm pretty sure the vast majority of you are actually in rooms and have speakers that are inaccurate, because rooms are by nature inaccurate and speakers are by nature inaccurate. Headphones by nature are inaccurate. And so it's very likely, unless you have done quite a bit of work to solve that problem, you may be hearing the music coming out of your speakers that we will play and that you're working on in your studios inaccurately. This is an example of what we call room modes. So room modes are where waveforms, especially you find them, the low frequencies in particular, tend to bounce around and then meet at certain parts in the room and cause either attenuations or boosts, right? So they're amplifying or diminishing the sound. And it's possible that in your listening position right now, if you were to turn your speakers on and listen to music, you could be hearing certain frequencies anywhere from like plus or minus 12 dB from flat and accurate. That makes it really tricky to do work, right? One of the things we work on very early in our flagship program, the reverse engineer, is helping people get their rooms really dialed in, because if your room's not dialed in, then it's very hard to do the kind of high level ear training you need to do. And if you can't do high level ear training, then when you start using the tools, you don't have a kind of a reference to use them accurately. It's kind of all hinges on having an accurate listening environment. That being said, we are going to do some things today that are going to help you kind of bypass some of the problems that come from inaccurate rooms. So we're assuming that that's going to be happening a lot for a lot of you. So we're going to do some things that are hopefully helpful, even if that's occurring, and we can still make the mixes better.
Can you go back to that last slide real quick? Yeah, not a lot of people know this, but room modes are actually the #1 cause in the world for portals opening up into the internet. So even more of a reason to treat your room.
Portals
what
opening up to
portals?
what?
Yeah, they're dimensions, interdimensional creatures and whatnot. Thanks for that useful information, Jake.
Certainly looks like
This looks like a portal, doesn't it? All right. So that being said, we want to start off this Fix the Mix challenge by showing you the song that we are going to fix on our end in our demonstrations. So this week, we're going to take you through and fixing a song on our end that is currently in bad shape. It's a bad mix. We lovingly sometimes refer to it as the poopy mix. If you've been here before, you know that. And later we're going to throw Dane under the bus and have him try to fix it on the fly with just mastering, but it's not going to work out very well. It never does for him. But we want to show you the song that we're going to work on this week. And what I want you to do is just pull out something to take notes with. And as we play through it, I want you to write down what you hear wrong with it and be as specific as you can, and just write down everything you hear. So Dane, do you want to
Let's do it.
share your screen and we'll listen?
Yeah, go ahead and enable that really quick. Oh, there we go.
Portals suck, says somebody.
Sound check. Can y'all hear that?
Oh, by the way, so by the way, we wanted to do a Christmas song for the December Fix the Mix. It's also a song made by Mr. Jake Codewise. Was this for licensing, Jake?
No, this is just for fun. This is a
Just for
chitchat
fun.
tool. This is a song I recorded a couple years ago, and you guys asked for it last time.
Got it.
So real quick too,
Created by Jake.
make sure if you haven't already, go to your audio settings in Zoom.
Good
Go
call.
to the microphone in the bottom left, click the arrow, click audio settings, and then make sure that you have stereo audio enabled. So again, microphone bottom left, click that little up arrow, and then enable stereo audio so we can hear all
high
of the
definition audio as well.
beautiful sleigh bells in both ears.
Well, even though Jake created this, we've made the mix bad. And when we make the mix bad, by the way, we do stuff that we have students come to us and say, I thought I was supposed to do this to a mix. We didn't like do anything crazy. We just did stuff that we see people doing all the time that ends up making mixes sound bad. So this is bad sounding. We're going to make it sound great later. But anyway, this is Jake's Christmas song.
I'll stop it right around here. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
So
Okay.
guys, before we dig in here, make sure you have a pen, you have a piece of paper, and write down your thoughts on the mix. Okay, what is wrong with the mix? Just write everything down. Okay, this is a little test of your current skills, current abilities here.
The world is moving fast, and nothing truly lasts. So let's make the most of our time together tonight. It's just you and me, nice and warm beside the tree, and I feel like everything is just right. Yeah, the fire, he's getting higher. It takes two to make the miracle come true. Just a little bit of Christmas. Bit of Christmas and nothing else to do. Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me a little bit closer to you. The snow is falling lightly, so baby hold me tightly. We'll keep our bodies close so we don't get cold. Christmas, just a little bit of Christmas, and nothing else to do. Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me a little bit closer to you.
I'm going to be singing this song for the rest of the year. I love it. It's so funny. And it sounds terrible. I liked, there were a few people in the chat that said everything.
Yeah, I laughed at that.
If you think this mix sounds good, yeah, it's not good. And we're going to make it sound a lot better. So that'll be a lot of fun. Good song, Jake. So did you write some stuff down? Were you able to write a few things down that, what kind of stuff did you guys catch? Let's keep that stuff in mind. So I'm sure a lot of you could pick out some stuff that was pretty wrong right away, right? And then there's also some of you who are maybe hearing it inaccurately. So if we asked more specifically, like which frequencies were wrong and what's going on, maybe it would be harder to pinpoint it just depending on how your room is, what your skill level is, what your ear training is and everything like that. So I'm sure there's varying degrees of answers written down on your papers right now, and that's okay. What we want to do though is start off by giving you, we're going to start off this week by giving you some more tools to actually analyze a bad mix better. So we're going to really start off this journey into mixing by discussing mastering. The font, right? Mastering. We're going to talk about mastering. Why are we going to talk about mastering? Well, I've personally been training mastering engineers for many years, and I've had a lot of mastering engineers come learn from me, and I kept hearing a lot of them say a similar thing. Over the years, I saw a pattern. And what I would see is it didn't matter on skill level, even guys who came in who were 20, 30 years in the industry, guys that have worked with Grammy winners, won Grammys, it didn't matter. They would come in and they would say, I've loved learning mastering. It's been a lot of fun. But I feel like there's something powerful about mastering that's actually making my mixes better and actually making even my productions are better. And we thought that that was interesting. We asked ourselves, what is it about mastering that actually informs the rest of the process? And the reality is that it is a unique lens to view music from. When we're talking about mastering, what you know, if you don't know anything about mastering, you won't understand this, but if you've done it before, you will. But mastering is the part of the process that it's not creative anymore. Like you've been creative, you've written the song, even mixing is somewhat creative. But when it comes to mastering, it's frequencies and dynamics and like balance. That's it. And you're not even subjectively guessing when it comes to frequencies, dynamics, and all of that. You're actually measuring all of this stuff. So what we found about mastering that was what was powerful and why it was pushing back on people's mixes and productions is because mastering is the only part of the process that's purely objective. And it's easy to skip over some of the more technical, objective parts of the process, right? We all want to make music. It's really fun. We like to create, you know, we can even get into mixing because that's even kind of subjective and creative and fun. But what happens is a lot of times we skip over, even if we've been doing this a long time, some of the deep technical understanding that that you learn when you do mastering. And those holes we have in our knowledge are actually holding us back. So when these people were coming in and having their mixes and productions get better, what they were doing is filling in the gaps of knowledge that they'd been missing all along the way, sharpening their tools and refining their process. So this week, as we're starting to dive into mixing, we can use these lenses and these tools, regardless of the room you're in, to help you start pushing back on your mixes in a more effective way to make them better. So this perspective that we're going to gain from this is what's going to be really valuable. And that's why we're going to start with mastering today and talking a little bit about that. By objective, I mean left-brained. So everything we're going to talk about is technical, it's measurable, we're not guessing. We have analysis tools and metering tools to help us understand when things are balanced, when things are dynamic, when the frequencies are right. And all of this knowledge that we get from the metering and analysis, these measurable things, we can use to help us push back on our own mixes. It's going to give you new perspective on your mixes. And that's going to be really powerful. And everything's going to be anchored to references. If you haven't been using references before now, if you want to be professional at doing this, you always have to be holding yourself accountable because it's too easy to have your ears start playing tricks on you. Even if you've been doing this a long time, it doesn't matter. You never stop using references. You never stop having an objective foundation to compare your stuff to. So we'll talk about a little bit more about what that means. But this is the stuff we're going to focus on today, and we're going to get a new perspective, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We talked a little bit about that, so let's move on. Normally, I just want to be really clear and upfront. We're not going to try to teach you how to master because that would take longer than 3 days or even 1 day, because that's what the time we're going to spend on it today. It would really take a whole process of going in, helping you solve the problems in your room, getting an accurate listening environment that you can trust. Once we do that, engaging in full ear training, and once you have that deep understanding of the tools, how to think critically and analyze, and all of this, when we're teaching mastering to people, what we're really pushing towards is more speed and more intention. So we're not doing the room correction and ear training and tools and all this kind of stuff just to teach you those tools. All of it's leading towards the development of instincts. That's the next level. For those of you who are kind of in the intermediate level, I would say, who you've probably been feeling maybe a bit stuck at this kind of intermediate plateau. That's something we talk about like in the advertisements and stuff like that. We see a lot of people who come to a place where they're doing pretty good, but there's just something missing from getting to that kind of industry standard or Grammy level kind of sound that they're looking for. There's no secret. It's not a secret what gets you there. What gets you there is speed and intention, those development of those instincts. So what happens is you need to get to the point where you can know why you're using the tool in every moment, move in with intention, turn the knobs you need to turn, no more guessing, and just walk away. That's what speed and intention means. So that's what it really takes if you want to learn mastering. Is some of the benefits of learning mastering. Obviously, we can't do that. That's something for our flagship program. But what we can do is take some of the tools from mastering and make them useful this week. So what we're going to focus on is harnessing the power of the reference track, using specifically frequency analyzers to push back on your mix. We're going to observe dynamics to push back on your mix. And then we're going to learn how limiting exposes problems. So it's kind of fun. One of the things we've learned is that when you excite sound, when you turn it up, when you apply a limiter at the end of the process, it's very informative to the rest of the process. What happens is you turn it up and you excite the sound, and pretty much every flaw or good thing that you did in the whole process just becomes totally obvious. It just pushes it right to your face. And what you find is that the very last thing you do in mastering, which is apply that limiter, everything you did from the moment you pressed record for the first time up to that moment affects whether that limiting actually is successful or not. It's either going to sound good or it's going to sound worse.
It's cool. It's like the moment of truth, right?
It's the moment of truth.
Yeah.
And so if you have that perspective, it gives you, and we have that as the last bullet point here, you can learn an end in mind perspective that's very interesting and very powerful. If you learn to think like a mastering engineer, with an end in mind, knowing what's going to happen when that limiter turns up the final time, you make different choices throughout the entire process. And that's where it really gets powerful. Whether you're an artist producing your own stuff, whether you're a mixing engineer, it doesn't matter. It helps you hold yourself accountable and fill in the gaps and inform a process that can lead up to actually making something great when you apply a limiter on your stuff. So that's what we're going to focus on. It's one of the most powerful things we know. We definitely want to dive into that and give that to you. So 4 goals for today: reference track, learn to use EQ analysis tools, learn to observe dynamics, and learn how limiting exposes everything, good and bad. But don't get hung up on the rest of the mastering process. Again, we're not trying to teach you the whole thing. We're going to demonstrate mastering today. You don't need to know how to master to use these tools to push back in your mix. We're just going to focus on using those tools. If you know mastering already, that's great. You'll probably get some tips from us as we're doing it, but don't get hung up on it. It's not important for you to understand that right now. It just matters to you. What matters is using reference tracks, EQ analysis, dynamics, and understanding limiting. So let's dive into that. The power of the reference track. So what we mean by reference tracks is anytime you're mixing, even you can use reference tracks in production and definitely in mastering, you want to have a professional reference to compare your song against. So you go out and you find something that is in a similar genre, it's a similar sound to what you're going for. If you're working with clients, this is a question you need to ask them. What is it you're going for? That communication up front is very key, because then they're giving you a guide. They're speaking to you through music as to the expectation they want you to achieve in the mixing or mastering. So getting that reference track and bringing it into your session and checking in with it at certain points in the process is huge. And it anchors us to the objective. Your ears can't play tricks on you anymore, because now you have a foundation to work against and you're not guessing anymore. So it serves as a guide for the whole process. So if you have a mix that you're working on in the next 3 days, be thinking about what would be a good reference track for that. If you want us, if you use if you use the session we give you, then we'll obviously have a reference track for that as well, but we're going to hold ourselves accountable to that reference track. We're also going to learn to use frequency analysis tools. So I don't know if you all have one of these. There's free ones out there. The one we're going to use is the PAS analyzer from Waves. It's like $30, so it's very cheap. But find something, and it doesn't really matter what you use. What really matters is that you know how to use it and how to read it. And the reason I have these two pictures up here today are because not all frequency analyzers show you a response the same way. These are both accurate. These are both demonstrating an accurate frequency response, even though one is flat-ish and one is curved down from like 60 hertz down to 60 or 24K or whatever that is. I can't really read it. It's a little blurry. Those are both accurate. So the Waves PAS analyzer, like what we're going to use today, for example, has generally a slope to it when frequencies are balanced. Whereas some of the other ones you use, it'll be more of a flat thing. So what this means is, doesn't matter what you choose, you need to get one, and then you need to listen to a bunch of music and analyze a bunch of music through the analysis tool to get a general idea of what a balanced frequency response looks like in your tool specifically. What does it look like? If you look at enough stuff, you'll just start to see a trend. They won't be all exactly the same, but you'll see kind of a general trend for how it should look with your specific frequency analysis tool. And we'll show you how using this can help you push back on your mix and find and uncover problems with your mix. But you first need to learn how to use it. It's interesting, and this is just kind of a side note, but the reason it can kind of inform the process is if you were mastering a track and you had to do moves like what's on the left here, that's not something you fix with mastering, right?
Well,
You don't take a song.
That's an art project right there.
You don't take a song and have to do that much work to it. What does it mean? If you had to do that much work in mastering, what does it mean? It means there's problems with the mix. This is not something you fix with mastering or the production.
Steve says, send it back.
Send it back.
For people that were asking the question, what does it mean to push back on the mix? That's exactly what this is
Yeah,
saying.
I'm explaining that right now.
He's explaining that you have to push back on the mix. You have to push back on the mix engineer.
This is how mastering informs it though. So if you were having to go in, if you started using like on your stereo track, if you had to pull in a stereo track and you, to make it sound good, had to do moves like what's on the left, there's bigger fish to fry. But this is useful information because we can start to see where those frequencies are and start to uncover in the mix what's causing the problems. Mastering should look like what's on the right. It's very subtle. I'm just giving a demonstration of what it should look more like. So mastering is mostly enhancement and just a few small tweaks. But this is how we can inform a little bit more about our mix through the lens of mastering.
Dylan just mentioned one of my favorite quotes of all time.
What was it?
Mix like there is no mastering.
Exactly. In a perfect world, you wouldn't really have to master anything. You would just turn it up and that would be it. But that's not how it works. And there's always some room generally for enhancements. And today we're using it more as a lens to look through. So that's EQ. Then we also need some dynamic analysis tools. Well, really a dynamic analysis tool in this case is like a compressor, right? So if you were in a mastering session on working with a stereo track, and you put a compressor on there, and a lot of the song is hitting like 1 or 2 dB, but then there's huge spikes up to 12 on certain parts. What is that informing you of, right? It's informing you of some transients that are misplaced. And that's a problem also in the mix, not something that should be fixed in mastering. You can see the waveform there has some huge transients. If you run that through a compressor, it would only it would either only compress the tips of those peaks, or it would squash them and squash everything, depending on how you use it. But it wouldn't work. That's not how you want to work with transients in a mastering phase. So this, again, informs us about mixing. It says, hey, something's too loud, something's out of place, there's too much low end in the kick, there's something, right? It tells us something about what's going on. So regardless of whether your room is perfect or not, or what's going on, you can get information that can help you push back on your mix.
Someone said 10-1 on the mix bus, ratio wise. That was what's showing up on the picture.
No,
It's not,
no.
those aren't mastering settings. I think you just took
No.
a random screenshot.
Yeah, that was a random screenshot. Definitely wouldn't, if you were ever having to do that much work, again, problem with the mix, right? That's the whole point of this. And then we're gonna show you analysis tools, we're gonna show you dynamics tools, we're gonna demonstrate all this in just 1 second. And then what we're gonna do is apply a limiter on there and just turn it up. And we're going to see what else that tells us about what might be wrong. Again, it informs part of the process. So we're going to demonstrate just putting a limiter on there. If you're too new to even understand any of the stuff I was talking about with the EQ or the compressor stuff, then maybe the only thing you do is just get a limiter and apply it and turn it up and see what happens. See what you hear. Do the problems become more pronounced? I think they will. And turn it up to -9 RMS. So I'm giving you a little secret right now. The sweet spot for limiting on a master is -9 RMS.
Everybody write that down.
Everyone talks about LUFS these days. Everyone talks about all these different parameters. I'm telling you right now that, and we've actually just learned this from doing like 30,000 masters, that most of the time, the sweet spot for dynamics and loudness, you know what I mean by that? It's not crushing the dynamics. You still get a dynamic master, but it's also industry standard loud. It's not going to get turned up or down too much by Spotify or any of the other places. It's -9 RMS. Don't worry about LUFS. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Try for that sweet spot and see what happens. So that's what we're going to do today. That's what we're going to demonstrate. And it is, in fact, demo time. So we're going to hand it over to Dane, and he's going to demonstrate using some of these tools to learn more about the mix, and then limit it and learn more about the mix. And then we'll send you on your way to do the same thing.
Sweet. Alrighty. Let me check the sound. And then I'm going to go ahead and download these reference tracks, Jake, that you sent over. Let me just do that really quick. So we have point north and all-time low. Is that right?
Yep. The reason I included 2 is that all-time low is about, I think it's over 10 years old, the production on it. Point north is only a couple years.
Sweet. Almost ready. Got the second one downloaded. And here we go. All righty. Go ahead and duplicate these tracks actually. So you guys have your notes ready to go. You have some thoughts already about the mix. I know I do.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Oh, interesting. Siri.
Whose Siri is on?
I don't
Or
know. That was
whoever.
mine. I don't know why. Hang on.
Sorry, I couldn't hear what you said.
Come on, Siri.
You have Sammy or Alex instead of Alexa, right?
Sammy, Alex. I don't know.
Sammy,
What are you
Sam
talking
instead
about?
of Siri. If
Oh,
it's a
you're talking,
male,
you're talking about the voice that you can select. I see what you're saying.
yeah, if it's a male, I think it's Sammy.
Sammy doesn't like this mix either. All right, so you have your notes already, and what I'm going to do is kind of go through a bit of my thought process for how I would listen and how I would use the PAS analyzer to really compare against the reference. We showed you the PAS analyzer in the slides that Caleb had up. So what I do is I put that as the last, that goes as the last plugin in the chain, because every decision we make obviously is going to affect and feed into that PAS. And we want that PAS analyzer to be the very last. Any of your metering needs to be sitting in the last, as the last plugin in the chain. So I already have it pulled up here. As you can see, don't pay attention to SonarWorks. That's my calibration. I'm not going to have that on, obviously, for you guys. But in the case that I'm actually working on a legitimate project, I will have this enabled, because this is my, as you can see, just to touch on room issues. And someone even pointed this out. Like, you can push back on the mix, but hey, listen, the mix engineer might need to push all the way back to his room, right? He may go back and forth a million times wondering, well, I don't hear it that way, but somebody else hears it, right, a certain way. And it's because of this. This is the frequency analysis of my room. And I won't go into that into detail, but suffice it to say that all of this whole measurement is going to affect, what I'm hearing. So
yeah, that's the high level takeaway here, right? Like,
right.
you're only going to hear what your room allows you to hear. And if your room is responding inaccurately, you're hearing things inaccurately.
Right.
That's why it's so important to just address your room, right? Just
Yep.
highlight.
So I'm going to turn that off so that everyone gets sort of the same, you're not getting my filter. And plus that EQ correction is only for my room. It's not for my headphones, and everyone's working on different systems. So I'm going to keep that off. And so if you're wondering what that was, that's what that's for. So the first thing I like to do is kind of listen through to the chorus. And then I want to pull up the PAS analyzer and actually have that on both the mix and the reference tracks. And what's cool is we can pull both of these up, and I'm going to title these Poopy Mix with many O's. Poopy Mix. And then the reference 1, and this will be reference 2. And do you guys want me to kind of go over the signal flow here? We don't necessarily need to, but
don't need to worry about that.
Yeah. So don't pay attention to what this is feeding into. That would be if I was mastering for an album. So here we have the PAS analyzer for, our mix. And then we have the PAS analyzer here for reference 1. And what I'm going to do is mute these and listen to this one more time and just sort of make some notes mentally in my head again, and then go to the reference.
Yeah, take your notes out, guys.
Fast, and nothing truly lasts. So let's make the most of our time together tonight. It's just you and me, nice and warm beside the tree, and I feel like everything is just right. Yeah, the fire, he's getting higher. It takes two to make the miracle come true. Just a little bit of Christmas to get you in the mood. Just a little bit of Christmas and nothing else to do. Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me a little bit closer to you.
All right. So I think that's enough to play.
Can you clear the orange information on the one for the Poopy Mix?
Clear the orange information.
Just clear, please. Clear it.
I did.
No, you click show.
Are you talking about the reference mix? This one?
Oh, Poopy Mix. You clicked the wrong button, is all I'm saying.
Oh.
You clicked show, and
The
not
world is
clear.
moving fast, and nothing truly lasts.
This right here. Is that what
Yeah,
you
you
mean?
just never cleared it, so it wasn't showing us in the orange the correct Play a little bit
Oh,
more of it. Let's see.
I see what you're saying. What Caleb's referring to is just the orange leaves you the big picture, high level frequency response of the mix.
Just a little bit of Christmas. Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me a little bit closer to you.
So I just want to make a point about this because I said earlier, know what your analyzer should look like. The PAS analyzer on the right is playing the reference mix, which is a professionally mixed song. And you can see for the most part, it's gently sloping down from like 60 Hertz. And then it kind of drops off at the really, really high range. Look how different that is from our mix. This is giving us information, right? What is it telling us? This is what Dane's going to explore right now. What is just looking at that curve telling us about the balance issues with frequencies in the Poopy mix?
Right. Yeah. So immediately off the bat, like I'm listening for these things and understand that these are only going to give us kind of like big picture, high level information about maybe what's missing frequency wise. Again, these are all objective things. It doesn't necessarily give me all the detailed information about what's happening. It just says overall we're missing bass, or there's too much bass compared to the reference. There's maybe too much highs, and you can see that objective information here. One of the things right off the bat that you can see, and I'm sure maybe you could hear, is this like wacko balance between the instrumental and the vocal. And that is actually showing up in around that 500 to 1K range here. Notice how there's this giant mountain of information, right? of buildup. And we can't necessarily, again, extract every single detail. We can sort of make some intelligent guesses about what that is, because again, we only have an entire stereo mix here, right? We don't have access to all the tracks. I can hear some things. I can hear some vocals, obviously. That's the most like obvious, I think, culprit of this frequency range. But I also hear a little bit of buildup maybe in the piano, right? And it could be a combination of, hey, turn down the piano, or a combination of turn down the piano and maybe dip, maybe pay attention to that 600 kind of area in your piano, and who knows, maybe these guys decided to throw me under the bus and boost the snot out of those frequencies. But I mean, that's, again, you have to be able to use not only the analyzer, you have to use your ears and be trained in understanding where these frequencies might be showing up, right? And be really sensitive to that. So, but certainly the PAS analyzer is going to help guide me in my objective decisions with, okay, where should I pay attention to cut? Where should I pay attention to boost? So there's that mountain there. There's a lot of low end here. This is without even listening. So we haven't even listened to what's going on. But now that we've got that information, I'm going to go ahead and scoot over here to this reference. I'm going to level match this really quick to about -10 here. And let's listen to this.
I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. It's just you and me at the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want you for my own.
Low end.
More than you could ever know. Make my wish come true. All I want for Christmas is you.
Someone said, am I supposed to hear the music? Yes, certainly are supposed to hear the music. If you're not hearing the music, check your settings and just make sure that you've got the settings right on the, what was Mike was saying, in next to the mic, next to the microphone in your Zoom settings. You should be able to click on that and make sure that high fidelity stereo is on.
Make I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing.
All right. Immediately when I switch back and forth, there's two things that I hear at a high level. One is the lack of low end, right? Obviously there's a bit of instrumentation reasons for that. There's this big 808 that's happening in the reference mix that we don't actually have, unless Jake has an 808 that he just it's all being drowned out, right? I don't know, Jake, did you put an 808 in there? I
Not
don't
in
even
this
want-
one. Not in this one.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so that's one thing that you have to realize is that it's the instruments are going to dictate the frequency response, right? And a poor balanced mix is going to cause an imbalance of the frequency response. So in reality, your first line of defense shouldn't be this technical, oh, I'm going to cut 600 and boost 50 hertz. And then I'm going to do, this like intelligent, resonant sort of like dynamic frequency cuts, at 6K and above. No, it's way more simple than that. It's like turn up the low end instruments, turn down the hi-hats. I feel like I'm taking a shower in Jake's splashy hi-hats. Like they're just like the overheads are raining down on me. It's like turn down your overheads, like at least 4 decibels or whatever. So
Yeah, and this is the whole point, guys, that this is a poor mix. It is not ready to be mastered, and we would push back on the mixing engineer.
these are notes
Okay,
that
go
right.
back and fix X, Y, and Z.
Or if it's our song, it's informing us of stuff we may not be hearing correctly that we need to go back and fix. It doesn't matter that the reference is mastered, because that's the point. We want to get it to a good balance like a master would be, just in the mix. So you don't have to fix stuff in the master. That's the whole point. So this is informing us. And what Dana's doing right now, it's all about connecting your ears with your eyes in this case, especially for those of you who might have room problems. You have to connect your ears and your eyes. So if we're seeing problems like you pointed out in the low end and then the mids, then we go, okay, what's when I listen, what's causing that? What's the main culprit? There's probably layers of culprits, right? But what are the most obvious ones? Let's fix those. Then what happens? Let's fix those, right? Does that make sense? It's just connecting your ears and your eyes.
Right. Yeah, and what's tricky about the room situation, and not to beat this to a pulp, but it's that important. The more finite you get in your sort of subtle changes in frequencies, the more accurate you need your listening environment to be. The more you need to be able to trust and rely on what you're hearing as being accurate. Because right now, all of you are saying, oh, this is a terrible mix. Pretty much all of you can get that. But it's when we get down to the more subtle changes in high end to really make sure that that's going to translate across different systems. That's when we start to say, I've worked so hard. I've spent, 3 months on this mix. And it's like, I go back and forth from the car to the mix, into the studio, back to my Bluetooth speaker, etc. So it's all these, it's this interplay of like listening, being able to identify frequencies combined with having a very accurate listening environment. So,
and I know some of you are actually coming over from Damian Keys, his program, because this is a feature with Damian Keys. And a lot of you are self-producing artists. So this applies to you too, though. This isn't just a mixing thing, because if you produce in a way, right, that balances things before it even gets mixed, then the mixing engineer has to do less. So this goes all the way back to the beginning, and it changes our mindset about which instruments we use, how we record them, and why. So that when we get to mix, we're just polishing, and when we get to master, it's ready to go. So this is the whole process all wrapped up into one moment. That's why the mastering lens is so powerful.
right. Yeah. So I think we're good. I hear the problems I hear. I know that there's those things that I'm going to push back on the mix, turn down the piano a bit. I'm also hearing some weird phasey issues with the vocal, with Jake's vocal. I don't know if he decided to throw like an imager on that or what's going on there, but there's a lot of stuff going on. And I think you guys get the point. What I'm going to do now is actually see, okay, can I master this? I'm going to do my very best to actually master this track. And so you're going to watch me do some moves. You're going to watch me kind of pay attention to those frequency areas that we already talked about. And then you're going to say that still doesn't sound great, but that's my job, is to be this is the running joke here in Fix the Mix, is to throw me under the bus with the terrible mix and make me master it. So
Let's explore dynamics really quick a little bit first, because we've talked about frequencies.
Sure.
But it looks like a pretty, like, just looking at the waveforms, it doesn't look like a crazy. Well, maybe there is a problem. Yeah, we should assess it. Let's assess it with a compressor, and then let's also turn it up with a limiter and see if that exposes the problems even a little bit more.
one thing I wanted to point out about dynamics is I would say this has like some limiting on it. There's like, that's another big no-no for me as a mastering engineer, is I don't want someone putting limiting. This is like obvious limiting. You can see that there's no sort of like fluctuation. All the transients have been chopped off at the same level.
Oh, it looks like it's been clipped. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been clipped, it's been limited. And so I don't mean no likey. I want to have control over. I think dynamic control is one thing, but like chopping off those transients is a no-no, unless it's done very subtly, right? And this is not
Yeah.
so.
And I know a lot of you have learned to do top-down mixing, which means you apply stuff on the mix bus and mix into it. And I know it's maybe an unpopular opinion, but I think we do that when we don't have the perspective of mastering. It's a gimmick we use because we don't have perspective. And I think it's actually better to not do that, and to get the perspective, get the ears, get the training, the technical training, because when you apply stuff on the mix bus and you mix into it, you're covering up stuff. It's solving some problems, but it's creating others.
Yeah.
And I think what's more powerful is if you can just learn to think like a mastering engineer and use use tools like this. You don't need to mix into anything, and it will actually end up sounding better. And I've seen people who used to do top-down mixing switch, and they were able to get to a much higher level, just having the right perspective. So I know you don't know what I'm talking about, but I know some of you do know what I'm talking about. So
I was one of those people. Totally.
All right. So what we'll do here is I'm going to go ahead and just, well, I've got the paths that are, sorry, the map meter pulled up here. This is actually going to show me some dynamic range information. And it's also going to show me kind of where I'm at with loudness as well. And I'm going to listen to this.
Let's use a compressor too, because a lot of people aren't going to be able to go out. That map meter is like $130. I know a lot of people probably don't want to go buy that.
For
So
sure.
use it for people that do. You can show what it does, but also show what a compressor does.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was just going to pull this up to see, okay, where am I at? I'm just interested in seeing dynamically like what's going on here, to see like how much maybe bus compression they put on this. It's funny how like that's supposed to lead into this big chorus, and because the vocal's so hot, it all of a sudden just drops in energy like completely. And then so what I was seeing there, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but this is showing me if it's green. I won't go into detail with this, but if this is in the green, this center meter here, this is showing me the dynamic range, and green means it's healthy. And then if it starts to go into the yellow or the orange or red, that's when you know you're losing a lot of those dynamics. Started barely to change, but when I get a mix, I want to have more dynamics. I want to have I want that to be purely green. I don't want it to even start to change. So that's just to show you that this has been done improperly, that there's like limiting, or just it's overly limited or compressed in that on the overall mix.
Yeah, this is another way to connect your eyes and your ears. Just look at those waveforms. They're clearly just completely chopped off. You would never want to get this as a as a mastering engineer. It's a problem.
So for me, what the problem with this is like, I don't want to compress this anymore. Like, in fact, I would want to introduce a lot of low end and then maybe compress a dB at the very most, because then I'm going to go into limiting, and limiting is going to be where I bridge that gap in the final volume stage. And, you know, there's not really much room to apply any more limiting, you know, to get it up to level. So let me show you, just pulling up I'm going to just pull up a stock plugin here. Just this is an actual G-Bus compressor emulation by Logic. So this is their version of the famous SSL 4000 console, like the bus compressor on that. So if you have Logic, you actually have this for free. It comes with it. So let me see if I can squeeze a little bit of.
Yeah, this magic in the air, and I can feel it from my head down to my toes. Yeah, the fire is getting higher. It takes two to make the miracle come true. Just a little bit of Christmas, little magic in the mood. Just a little bit of Christmas, and nothing else to do.
I don't know if you can hear that, but it's like, I can't do much more than like a dB or so of compression. And it's because there's just way too much on there. Not to mention, I haven't made any of my EQ moves that I would want to make. So I think that's maybe the point that we're trying to tell you here is all of this is pushback on the mix. Like, there was just no way we would ever master this in the real world.
A lot of times,
for not just EQ reasons, but dynamic reasons as well.
For sure. A lot of times, and I think in my demonstration, I was speaking more about maybe it uncovering like crazy big transients, which it could. In this case, the compressor would be doing too much at certain parts and not enough at other parts. But this is the opposite of that. We're seeing just visually in the waveform that it's chopped off, and that's no good. Jake, did you put a clipper on the master bus?
You for sure put a limiter on there.
Oh, that's so mean.
Yeah.
Now you can't. Now if you try to compress it, it's gonna make it sound so bad. That's really mean. That's a mean move.
So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna make a couple quick EQ moves and get it and introduce more dynamic. This is a way you can actually introduce more dynamic.
Turn up. Do a limiter and turn it up first. Just
just to see. Okay, sure. Well,
see if this brings any more. For those of you who are struggling to hear problems, because most of you can hear it, but like a few have been like, oh, I can't hear it very well. That's okay. You're probably a little newer, and that's just fine. I'm glad you're here. But when he limits it and turns it up, see if we add energy to the frequencies and everything that's happening. See if more problems just become more visible to you.
I'm going to add a limiter on top of it.
Dane, do you have Pro Mouse?
Oh, excuse me. Let's do this. You guys see my mouse now?
Nope.
No.
Just share your whole screen.
Oh, that's right. Let me go ahead and get back to Zoom share.
Yeah, right. Radio ready. I can't believe you can sing so high, Jake.
Yeah.
My nut crushing falsetto.
Nut crushing falsetto.
Perfect for the holidays. So from here, I've got it up to as much as I want it, maybe just another half decibel there. And then from here, you'll really start to hear how bad this mix is when we apply a limiter to it.
Yeah, there's magic in the air, and I can feel it from my head down to my toes.
Like instantly the vocal is just like even more up front. It's exacerbated that issue even more.
Yeah, there's
And fortunately Jake's a decent singer, right? He's doing an okay job there. And so it's
Not good enough to have that not hurt.
yeah.
yeah, it takes two.
Listen to how overbearing these vocals are.
He's getting higher. It takes two to make a miracle come true. Just a little bit of Christmas. Just a little bit of Christmas.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bypass all this and see if you can notice what's going on in the high end. Okay, I'm going to bring this back up.
He's getting higher. It takes two to make a miracle.
Now there's no processing. There's no compression or limiting.
Little bit of Christmas. Just a little bit of Christmas. Just bring me a little bit closer. Just
Can anyone's okay? Let me turn this on one more time. Bring this down. Listen to the difference. What's coming out other than the vocals? What instrument is coming out way too much?
little bit of Christmas. Just a little bit of Christmas.
Yep, cymbal, splash, showers of overheads. It's a freaking fire hose, fire hydrant of
That's
overheads. Just like putting it in my ears.
You're coming out of the right speaker.
I feel like someone just opened my studio door with the fire hose and just like turned it on in my ear. So
Somebody asked about vocal layers. You're gonna see all that stuff tomorrow.
So, but let's go ahead and see if we can master this. Is that good enough in terms of the sort of the dynamic side of things? Jake and Caleb, any other thoughts? Or
I think that's I think the point of all of this is that y'all need to do it on your own mixes, right? So go in with the EQ, go in with the compressors, look at the waveforms, just see what information you get about your mix from the tools we just showed you. See if it opens up or uncovers some new things. And so that when we focus on mixing in the next couple of days, you have some different perspective that we can work with. And we will post the files. Are you going to do this song? Are you going to post the files for this, Jake?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, in the school community. So hop in there and you can get the files for this. We'll post those right when we're done here.
cool. So I'm going to go
So
ahead and just
So this is the funny part, because you should never ever try to master something like this, and Dane's going to try to prove that point because he's a expert mastering engineer, but even he won't be able to save this, I imagine. So let's see how much better he can make it, but also how much he can't do. Yeah, get out the popcorn.
here we go.
All right. So this is the challenge. See if you can slap some lipstick on this pig.
This is just for fun. You guys don't need to do this part. It's just kind of a point.
Little bit of Christmas. Just a little bit of Christmas. Won't even ask for snow. Just want to be closer. Just bring me a little hair. Yeah, that's magic. Little bit of Christmas. Don't ask for much this Christmas. I won't. Nothing else to do. Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me a little bit closer to you. Little bit of Christmas. Just a little bit of Christmas. Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me a little bit closer to you. Little bit of Christmas. Just a little bit of Christmas.
I just want to put like a high cut on this whole thing. Just get rid of that.
You can see a nasty frequency there.
Yeah.
A lot of that is fine, but look at that one frequency at like
Yep.
20K or 18K.
Pretty inaudible, but
Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me underneath the mistletoe.
I'm gonna cheat here. And just get this area under control.
Yeah, he's going to use improper
I would never do this.
improper techniques. He's already the EQ is already starting to look like what I said not to do, right?
I love how it's literally the vocals are the only thing triggering this area. I'm starting to hate Jake right now.
In a art project.
Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me a little bit.
Yeah, I think we'll just come in here. Pull up the trusty.
Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me a little bit Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me a little bit closer to you. Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me a little bit closer to you. Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me a little bit closer to you.
God, stop.
Just bring me.
This is starting to get really wacky. There we go.
Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me a little bit closer to you.
You guys
No
are cracking me up. You guys are cracking me up in the chat.
We got a good group this time, I could tell. Very funny people.
So help us.
That's a good sense of humor. Sense of humor in here. Yeah, that's good.
Let's go for the I want.
If you work with the wrong kind of clients, this can be your future too.
Yes.
Every mix set to you will sound like this.
And we've all mixed mixes like this. I mean, we're laughing about it now because I mean we know now, right? But like at the beginning of your career, if you're just getting started, this is par for the course, honestly. Like my mix, you should have heard my mixes. My very first mixes, dude, is just like, and I think I've told you guys this before, just reverb. Just reverb. I didn't even care about frequencies or dynamics. I just want a reverb on everything.
Just bring me a little bit closer. I can feel it from my head down to my toes. Christmas. I won't ask for just a little bit of Christmas.
Oh, those cymbals. I hate you.
You still don't have the low end either. Do you hear how much more low end? Even though
Oh
you
my gosh. I know, but it just throws everything off if I do more than that, right? And that's the point. Is
we're
if
just not even close.
I come in here and I say, oh, I want to bridge that gap.
I can feel it from my head down to my toes. Yeah, the fire is getting higher. Little bit of Christmas. Just a little bit of Christmas.
It's like off in one section and okay in the other, right?
Little bit of Christmas. He's getting higher.
Actually sounds okay here, and then it's wacky in the other section. It's all over the place. I have to compensate for that.
He's getting higher. It takes two to make a miracle come true. Just a little bit of Christmas. Just a little bit of Christmas. Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me a little bit closer to you.
That's all I got, man. I give up.
You feeling defeated?
Feeling totally defeated here. This is making me feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I already had that pulled
We'll
up.
compare, so it'll be fun. We always compare this attempt at the master to the last day after it's been properly mixed, and we master it again and compare the two. It's obviously fun to hear the difference.
Bring this down here.
He's getting higher. It takes two to make a miracle come true. Just a little bit of Christmas. Just a little bit of Christmas.
Your background vocal, man. It's like Barry White frequencies going on.
He's getting higher. It takes two to make a miracle come true. Just a little bit of Christmas. Just a little bit of Christmas. Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me a little bit closer to you. Just bring me a little bit closer. 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 Just a little bit of Christmas. Just bring me a little.
Jake's face.
Just a little bit of Christmas. Just bring me a little bit closer. Just bring me a little bit closer to you.
Yeah.
What for any of you who understand mastering a little bit more, and we're talking about -9, pull up your map meter and the precision limiter. He's trying to get it to -9 RMS. He's actually not even able to get it there without the limiter just going crazy, which is a
Yeah.
product of a bad mix. So a bad mix isn't just bad because it sounds bad, but an unbalanced frequencies in your mix and your master will make it so you can't get that industry standard loudness. That's the other problem. And a lot of people think, oh, to make it louder, you just need more compression, more limiting. Nope. If you want industry standard loudness, it starts with EQ, actually. It's all about EQ.
100%. Yep. And I could do some crazy moves if I wanted to. I could grab, the like soothe and throw soothe on there. And that's maybe something I would do. I would try out if I absolutely didn't have access to any pushback, if I couldn't push back on the mix at all. But that just throws off the entire balance, right? EQ problems not dealt with in the mix will cause you to make choices that maybe fix one problem, but destroy the other 9 instruments in the mix. So that's exactly the point. So let me just squeeze a little bit more out of it.
Just a little bit of he's getting higher.
We're hitting above -9 in the what I want to do is come in here and bring down this verse
Automate the verse.
and then bring up the, it's just, I'm throwing in the towel now. is
Yeah.
what-
Yeah.
So,
Fair.
Yep, I'm done.
Well done,
right.
man. Let's hear it. Let's hear it for Dane. He's always a really good sport when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's not very, very fun to look like an idiot.
Oh man.
Hats off to Dane. One's in chat for Dane, or
Yeah. Number
or
one.
flex emojis.
Number one. Yeah. Killer.
You did make it sound better, for what
You
it's
did
worth.
make it a touch more listenable. For
Anyway.
sure.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
It's less intrusive. It's not a great sounding song, but it's just better. You polished the turd.
We have I created an anti-chorus.
For real. But
Oh.
that's exciting. That means that we're getting into the end of the session. We're getting into action items so that you guys can put some of this to the test, right? Put this into practice.
That's right. So now you have action items to take away and do on your own with your own mix, or if you want to use this one, we'll post it in school within the next, I would say, probably hour. What I want you to do is bounce your mix down where it is right now. Leave about 6 dB of headroom. I mean, you don't have to, but that's just kind of industry standard. Just bounce down your mix. Pull it into a new session. Don't do this in your mix session because it's just a bad habit. Get a reference. Find something. It doesn't, when we're talking about references, it doesn't need to sound exactly the same. It just needs to be in the same ballpark. We're not looking for exactness here. It's just a high level comparison. Are you in the same ballpark? Observe and analyze frequency using a frequency analyzer, both on your bounce down mix and the reference. You might need to turn your reference down to volume match. Observe and analyze dynamics visually with a compressor. Apply limiter and see if it exposes some more problems. See if it brings, did you see? I mean, it was just so crazy. Like when the volume was quieter, we didn't apply the limiter. The vocals were loud, but kind of tolerable. When you apply that limiter, both the vocals and the overheads just went way bigger, and so it just tends to excite some things that are bad. There's something about a limiter that just points a light at stuff that's bad that's going on in frequencies and dynamics in a mix. So listen for that, and then identify and write down any issues you have so you can fix your mix based upon those observations. Write those things down, bring them to tomorrow. Okay, you don't need to do more than that now. Don't try to fix anything yet. Right? We're going to work on that together. We're going to give you a process for working on that. You're going to want to follow the process just because it might be different from what you do, and it might be fun to, or it will be valuable to try something new. But write stuff down and have those observations ready for tomorrow. And yeah, that's it. That's it for today. It's been fun. I'm excited to work on this Christmas song. We're going to make it sound really good, Jake. I'm sure you will make it sound like gold by the time you're done.
Kelsey asks, is it at the same time tomorrow? Yes, it will be at the same time tomorrow. You'll get announcements and links and all of that fun stuff. We will post the replay to this class along with the action items inside of the school platform under the community tab. Okay, so if you're not in the school platform, you need to get in there. All right, that's where everything is going to be. So wait for announcements from us. We'll let you know as soon as those action items are up. We're also going to post the Poopy Mix and the multi-tracks for this song. So if you want to work on this song along with us, you can totally do that as well. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? If so, give me a strong arm emoji. Give me a flex.
Dane looks like a sad potato, someone just said.
And we will get into VIP questions tomorrow. So if you're in VIP and you submitted questions, we will get into those tomorrow. All right. Thanks, y'all. It was fun. We'll see y'all tomorrow. We're going to dive into mixing more, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see.